In the land of Mordor, in the fires of Mount Doom, the Dark Lord Sauron forged in secret a master ring to dominate all life. One ring to rule them all. One by one, the free lands of Middle-earth fell to the power of the ring. Yet, when all hope had faded, the king's son Isildur took up his father's sword and cut the ring from Sauron's hand. For 2,500 years, the ring was lost. But in time, it passed to a hobbit who carried it to Rivendell, where a great council was called to decide the ring's fate. 9 companions would form the Fellowship of the Ring to see to its destruction. Frodo Baggins and his faithful friend Sam Gamgee would scale the slopes of Mount Doom and cast the ring into the fire from whence it came. To draw Sauron's eye from the ring-bearer, Aragorn, heir of Isildur, marched upon the Black Gate of Mordor and challenged the armies of the Dark Lord. As Aragorn and his army approached the Black Gate, Sauron prepared to empty all of Mordor to oppose him.
Hold your ground! Hold your ground! A day may come when the courage of men fails, but it is not this day! This day we fight!
We can give Frodo his chance if we keep Sauron's eye fixed upon us.
For Frodo.
A Balrog? There weren't any Balrogs at the Black Gate. That was in Moria, silly.
Oh, pardon me, Mr. Frodo, sir, if I don't spend all my time listening to Dad's stories. Frodo! Frodo! Frodo Gamgee, where are you? Go on, Mother's calling. Bet she's going to make you help with the party.
Well, that's better. You can't have a good party without a lot of hard work. Remember that.
Is the king really coming to the Shire?
Indeed he is, so you'd all best be clean and presentable.
It's true, all right. But King Elessar wouldn't mind a bit of honest dirt. Why, the first time I met him, he was the scruffiest looking fellow you ever laid eyes on.
Why is he called King Elessar? Wasn't his name Aragorn?
Elessar is what the elves call him. My gaffer used to say you can't trust those who don't stick to one name. But Strider proved him wrong.
Who's Strider?
Aragorn, silly. Strider's what he called himself when he was disguised as a ranger.
Well, that's not quite right. Didn't I ever tell you the whole story of Strider?
No! Come on, Dad, you have to tell us now, please.
Hooray! Story!
Oh. Well, I'll warn you all, it's a long one. We have a few hours while the stalls are set up. Years ago, before any of you were born, there used to be rangers patrolling the lands hereabouts. There weren't many of them, and they were a grim folk, but good-hearted. there later was known by the name of Strider, and he was a friend of Gandalf. One day, Gandalf told Strider to look out for a hobbit named Frodo, who would be traveling out of the Shire carrying a precious burden. It was a grim, wet night in the village of Bree, and black riders were about, seeking the ring. Frodo decided that we should stay the night at the Inn of the Prancing Pony. The riders came for us in the night. But Strider had found us first.
They are the Nazgul, ring wraiths, neither living nor dead. At all times they feel the presence of the ring.
Where are you taking us?
To the House of Elrond.
It would be a long journey to Rivendell. We made camp at Weathertop that night. It was close to dawn when the ring wraiths attacked. Strider! Help him, Strider!
He's been stabbed by a Morgul blade. This is beyond my skill to heal. He needs elvish medicine. Sam, do you know the Ephemus plant?
Aye, it's a weed.
It may help to slow the poison. Hurry.
As Strider talked to the elven lady, we heard a crash in the woods behind us. Out of the trees lumbered a great big tree.
I've been looking for you for 2 days.
The elf, Arwen, seemed to know Strider, and she understood our plight at once.
He's passing into the Shadow World.
We must get him to my father. I'm the faster rider. I'll take him.
Arwen, ride hard. Don't look back.
But what happened at Rivendell?
There's plenty more to tell.
Mayor Gamgee, they finished the archery stall. I said you'd be wanting to inspect it soon.
Right you are, Tom. We'll finish the tale later. Come on, you lot. It's time young Frodo learned how to use a bow. Let's see now. Where were we?
Rivendell!
Ah, yes. The Black Riders chased Arwen all the way to the borders of Rivendell. But once in the country of the elves, she turned to face them. As they tried to cross at the ford of Bruinen, she called up the magic of the land and brought forth a great flood that crashed down on the Black Riders like a stampede of wild, white horses. Every one of them was washed away. With the Black Riders defeated, Arwen brought Frodo safely to Rivendell, but he was sorely wounded by that Morgul blade. So he was taken into the care of Elrond, who was Arwen's father and the greatest healer in all the land. And while Mr. Frodo was recovering, Strider and the rest of us traveled on to Rivendell to join him. Representatives of all the free folk of Middle-earth met in Rivendell to decide what would be done with the ring.
It is a gift. A gift to the foes of Mordor.
You cannot wield it. None of us can.
Only after much discussion was it decided that Frodo would carry the ring to Mordor to destroy it forever in the fires of Mount Doom. But he would not go alone.
You shall be the Fellowship of the Ring.
Oi! We're coming too! Great. Where are we going?
We left the safety of Rivendell for the steep paths through the misty mountains. But an unnatural snowstorm hit, sent by the treacherous wizard Saruman. We were almost buried and couldn't go on. Our only hope was to go under the mountains, through the ancient mines of Moria. The gate of Moria was hard to find, and harder still to open, but Mr. Frodo found a way. So the gate of Moria swung open, and all of us went in. But before we could go further, a terrible tentacled creature attacked from the water behind us. It tried its utmost to eat Mr. Frodo, but Strider fought it off. And then there was a mighty crashing behind us as we ran into the mines.
Into the mines!
We now have but one choice. We must face the long dark of Moria. Here lies Balin, son of Fundin, Lord of Moria. He is dead then. It's as I feared.
Orcs!
Let them come. There is one dwarf yet in Moria who still draws breath. His foes beyond.
Below us, a crumbling staircase led to the bridge of Khazad-dûm. The eastern gate of Moria was almost in sight, but even here, goblins lay in wait.
Cannot pass! You shall not pass!
I don't think I had ever felt sadder than the moment we thought Gandalf was lost.
But it was all right, wasn't it? Gandalf came back later.
Oh, you're quite right, Frodo. We did see him again. Well, he wasn't quite the same. So there he was, Gandalf the White. But this new Gandalf seemed more serious now. I felt he'd never want to do those wondrous firework displays like the old Gandalf. But Strider was no less glad to see him for all that. The road to Edoras was long, and time was pressing. But with Gandalf to guide them, all obstacles could be overcome.
That is one of the Meras, unless my eyes are cheated by some spell.
Shadowfax. He's the lord of all horses, and has been my friend through many dangers. Edoras, and the Golden Hall of Medicine. There dwells Theoden, king of Rohan, whose mind is overthrown.
Gandalf the Grey is coming. He's a herald of woe.
I cannot allow you before Theoden King. The gates of Edoras shall stay closed by order of Grima Wormtongue.
Late is the hour in which this conjurer chooses to appear.
Be silent. Keep your forked tongue behind your teeth. I have not passed through fire and death to bandy crooked words with a witless worm. I will draw you, Saruman, as poison is drawn from our wound.
Dark have been my dreams of late.
I've only ever served you, my lord.
Your liegecraft would have had me crawling on all fours like a beast.
There at Helm's Deep, the people of Rohan prepared to make their stand. Though Éomer and his army of loyal Rohirrim were many leagues distant, Gandalf would ride to seek their aid. Only Shadowfax could be swift enough to reach them in time.
Look to my coming, at first light on the 5th day. At dawn, look to the east.
With all the Rohirrim packed into Helm's Deep, Strider helped everyone prepare for battle. They were joined by a force of elves from Lorien. But Saruman's forces were so many that even the bravest wondered how they could possibly win. The men upon the wall trembled at the numbers they faced. Most had seen too many winters, or too few. But all were brave and stood their ground with Strider and his friends. Theoden despaired, for it seemed that all was lost.
What can men do against such reckless hate?
Ride out with me. For Rohan. For your people.
Yes. Yes. Let this be the hour when we draw swords together. Now for wrath, now for ruin, and a red dawn!
It was almost dawn as the two men rode out against impossible odds. But Aragorn remembered the words of Gandalf and still held on to hope.
Look to my coming, at first light on the 5th day. At dawn, look to the east.
Set on from two sides, the Uruks couldn't hold. The battle for Helm's Deep was over. At the same time, the Ents had marched on Isengard to tear down the wizard's foul works. Saruman was doomed.
But what about Sauron? I bet he was annoyed that Strider beat Saruman.
I'll say, Saruman had been Sauron's greatest ally. Sauron was starting to get scared of Strider now. But he had a great army of orcs, even greater than Saruman's. How Sauron was defeated, and how Aragorn became king. Why, well, that's a tale and a half. Saruman was defeated.
Hooray!
But now, fierce corsairs were sailing up from the south to help Sauron's army attack the great white city of Gondor, Minas Tirith. And so, while the Rohirrim rode to Gondor, Strider traveled to a cursed place and called up ghosts to help him. They had been men who had sworn in the days of Elendil to fight against Sauron, but had broken their promise. Now they agreed to join Strider, so they could fulfill their oaths and finally rest in peace. With their help, Strider took over the ships of the corsairs and sailed to the battle in their stead. Aragorn's fleet drew near the docks as the fighting approached its peak.
Late as usual, pirate scum! There's work that needs doing! Come on, you sea rats! Get out of your ships!
There's plenty for the both of us. May the best dwarf win.
Seeing the last of his trolls fall, the Witch King joined the battle himself.
Go back to the abyss! Fall into the nothingness that awaits you and your master.
This is my hour.
Aragorn had fought bravely, but no man could kill the Witch King.
You have failed. The world of men will fall.
The riders of Rohan had come to aid Minas Tirith in its hour of need. And out of the midst of the battle rode Éowyn, bringing Aragorn's trusty horse, Brago. As the last of the Oliphants fell, a great wail was heard across the battlefield.
You fool! No man can kill me. Die now!
The Witch King of Angmar had fallen, struck down by a woman's hand. But the battle wasn't over yet. The enemy threw all their remaining strength against the city in one last desperate attack. Minas Tirith was saved, and the armies of Sauron fled. But the war was not yet done, and a hard decision awaited.
Release us. You gave us your word.
Very handy in a tight spot, these lads, despite the fact they're dead.
I hold your oath fulfilled. Be at peace.
Maybe they would regret it later, but Aragorn was a man to keep his promises. The Oliphants were done for, and the Witch King was dead. All the orcs had fled back to Mordor, and Minas Tirith was still standing. Strider had won.
Hooray!
But they couldn't cheer for long. Sauron was much too strong to let this setback stop him. While there was a chance of getting the ring, the world was still in danger. And two hobbits were climbing right up to his back door at that very moment.
You and Mr. Frodo.
That's right. At any second, Sauron could have spied us out, and Strider knew it. So he came up with a plan to distract him. Then and there, he marched the army forth. Elves, men, dwarves, and hobbits, right up to the Black Gate itself, to challenge Sauron to one final battle for Middle-earth.
Hold your ground!
Hold your ground! A day may come when the courage of men fails, but it is not this day! This day we fight!
We can give Frodo his chance if we keep Sauron's eye fixed upon us. For Frodo.
Just then, a hideous, corrupted man strode through the gate. He was Sauron's lieutenant, sent to challenge Aragorn. Sauron finally felt the ring's presence, and his eye turned away from the battle. But me and Mr. Frodo had already reached the foot of Mount Doom. All Aragorn could do now was hold on and hope we could destroy the ring. The ring, but there'll always be stories. That's where evil belongs. In tales of long ago, safely vanquished by heroes. So let's enjoy ourselves in proper Hobbit fashion and remember all those stories of folk like Frodo Baggins and Gandalf and Aragorn, King of Men.